How to use your healing power. The meaning of the healings of Jesus by Joseph Murphy. Now, before we start this, let's clear out all the unwanted energies, vibrations, frequencies. Let's get them all out, get them all away. And me, and you, and all around us. Peace and love. Chapter 6. The healing power of Thanksgiving. And it came to pass, as he went to Jerusalem, that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood off afar. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go shew yourselves unto the priest. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, and with a loud voice glorified God, and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. And Jesus answered, saying, Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? There are not found that return to give glory to God, except this stranger. And he said unto him, Arise, go thy way. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Luke chapter 17, verse 11 through 9. Verse 11 through 19. This wonderful account of 10 lepers being healed is a story of all of us. If you remove the stories of healings in the 4 Gospels, you have certainly emasculated one of the most important parts of the Gospels. The story of the lepers is telling all of us that sickness of the body has its origin in sickness of the soul. I remember reading some time ago a report of a statement made by Dr. Elmer Hess, and he was inaugurated president of the American Medical Association, to the effect that a physician who does not believe in God has no business in a sick room. I believe that most physicians agree that faith in God has a profound effect in the maintenance of perfect health. Let us remind ourselves at this point of the famous saying, the doctor treats the patient, God heals him. As previously pointed out, the word leper in the Bible means a mind troubled with conflicted desires, emotions, and confused ideas. It means a sick mind, a man who is sick in his thoughts, his emotions, and his body. Leprosy is a wasting disease. Therefore, it typifies the state of a man who has lost his vitality, energy, enthusiasm, and vigor for life, because he has psychologically separated himself from the source of all life. We have a leprous condition when we are full of envy, jealousy, anger, hate, self-condemnation, etc. When the Bible says Jesus passed through Samaria and Galilee to reach Jerusalem, it refers to a process of prayer or steps of prayer. Jesus represents the ideal, your desire, plan, or purpose, which is always walking down the streets of your mind, beckoning you onward and upward. Your ideal picture or vision is at this moment saying to you, rise up and accept me. When you raise your desire up in consciousness to the point of acceptance, you experience the truth of the statement, thy faith have made thee whole. Your desire must go through Samaria, which means confusion, double-mindedness, and conflict in Galilee, your mind. The numeral 10 mentioned here symbolizes the completion of a process. To look at it in a very simple way, the numeral 1 means the male or present aspect, namely your idea or desire. The naught or circle symbolizes a womb or receptive mind of man. Womb or receptive mind of man. Woman means the womb of man. In other words, 10 means the interaction of the male and female elements of your own mind, thoughts and feeling, idea and emotion, the brain and the heart. When these two are functioning harmoniously, constructively, and joyously, it is a happy marriage or union within self. Such a person is well integrated, healthy, vital, and courageous. The thoughts must be united with true feeling. Our thoughts must conform to the spiritual standards set forth by Paul. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Feel, chapter 4, verse 8. True emotion follows true thought. The heart or subjective feeling nature should be the chalice of God's love, as it is the sanctuary of his holy presence. It is called the cup in the Bible. As we meditate on the spiritual values of life, we receive a transfusion of love, faith, confidence, and energy, which courses through our veins, transforming our whole being. Our faith is kindled when we realize that all things are done by faith, which is a movement of omnipotence within ourselves. There is only one power, and that is our own consciousness. When we think of something, we have at that moment pinpointed the flow of almighty creative power through one focal point of attention. Our faith is really our thought, which, as Baudouin, the French psychologist, said, begins to execute itself immediately, taking form and function in your life. All of us want to go to Jerusalem, the city of peace within ourselves, which means that when our desire is completely subjectified, we have reached a place of accomplishment or fulfillment. We are now at peace, Jerusalem. Our mind is no longer divided. The two, desire and faith, have become one, and all is well. The number 10 is also a sacred number and bears reference to the line 1 and the circle 0, which produce a cross, X, only when there is a conflict in the mind. This conflict and frustration follows when man is in a double-minded state. He has two powers and believes in good and evil. He looks at his environment, circumstances, and conditions and says to himself, it's hopeless, all is lost. There is no way out of this dilemma. I am incurable, and many similar statements. How many people you know like that? How many times you said that? He is transferring the power within himself to external conditions. Perhaps he is blaming the weather, other people, or a jinx for his trouble. When desire and fear quarrel, the mind and the body become a battleground, resulting in wasteful expenditures of energy, debility of the vital organs, nervous prostration, and exhaustion. Man must learn not to make a created thing or the manifested world a cause, because the world is a created thing. You give your power to the creator, not the created thing. He must not exalt the created thing above the creator. He must resolve the conflict by going within himself and, like Quimby, placing his case before the great tribunal, God, the only presence and the only power, in the secret chamber of his own mind. He gives supreme recognition to the spirit within. He looks at the fearful, negative thoughts and orders them out of his mind, realizing that they are only an illusion of power. There is no principle behind them, and there is nothing to sustain them. He reminds himself that there is only one creative power, and that it is now flowing through his thought patterns, bringing him the good he seeks. He keeps on doing this regularly and systematically until a healing of the situation takes place. He keeps doing this over and over again until a healing of the situation takes place. Don't give up. Keep the faith. He has reached a decision or pronounced judgment in his own mind. He has condemned the guilty cause, the negative thoughts, and has freed the prisoner, desire, into the arms of the Lord, his subjective self, where through repetition, faith, and expectancy, his desire has sunk deeply into his subconscious mind. Even in the Bible, it say, don't put your faith in man, put faith in God. And if any man try to tell you the hour or day or time that Christ is supposed to appear, you shall not listen to that man. Just something I wanted to throw out there. Because where is Christ? Within. Ain't nobody coming out the sky. Ain't no Messiah coming in the... Let me continue this. You the Messiah. It's in you. God gave you breath. God gave you life. God gave you vision, sight, senses to hear. Where do you think all this stuff comes from? It comes from within. Let's continue. This is called depth therapy, or as the Bible calls it, entering Jerusalem. Uru means city. Salim means peace, i.e., reaching the point of conviction. The cross we have been carrying is now removed because we have reached the place of death. Our desire has been entombed where it dies first, then comes forth as the answer to our prayer. The word thought has become flesh, made manifest in our body and environment. The cry of the 10 lepers is the cry of every man. Give me a minute.
You want to come cut this piece?
Give me a minute. It is the appeal of every troubled, frustrated, and neurotic person to the master or spiritual power within, which alone can give peace and health of mind, body, and emotions. They lifted up their voices. You lift yourself up mentally when you turn in reverence, allegiance, and adoration to the spiritual presence within, who healeth all diseases Master, have mercy on us. The 100th Psalm says, His mercy is everlasting. Everlasting. Not just when you're being a good person. Not just when you're practicing your spirituality. Everlasting. How beautiful are these words? They touch the heartstrings, causing you to go forth with the praise of God forever on your lips. Go show yourselves unto the priests. The word priest is a symbol of spiritual perception and intuitive awareness of the great truths of God. A priest is one who offers up a sacrifice. Every man is a priest of God. Every man and woman is a priest of God when he turns away from the false gods and the poisoned feast of the irrational mass mind with its fears, superstitions, and terrors in order to give his supreme attention to the one God and his laws. Speaking on that, I want to say, I honor my ancestors. I'm grateful for my ancestors, and they know that. I'm grateful for my spirit team, and they know that. But one thing that they also know is that even them, themselves, are the created thing, not the creator. So therefore, I give honor to my ancestors. I have an ancestor altar. But if it wasn't for God, none of it would exist. So you know how people say, honor your ancestors. Yes, do that, but don't forget who made them. Who made your ancestors? Who created them? Okay, then. He sacrifices or gives up his negative thoughts, fears, and false beliefs, and contemplates love, peace, beauty, and perfection. He must give to receive. He gives up, fast from resentment, and feast on love. Fast from the idea of poverty and feast on the idea of God's abundance. Fast from fear and feast on faith in God and all things good. Fast from sadness and secrets. Fast from sadness and secretes the essence of joy, knowing that the joy of the Lord is his strength. The true priest fasts from pain and feasts on God's silent river of peace. He fasts from self-condemnation, depression, and self-pity, and feasts on amiability, sociability, kindliness, goodwill, and laughter. He fasts from symptoms and feasts on the mental vision of health and happiness. He fasts from darkness and feasts on the light of God being reflected on all his problems. Knowing the light, the intelligence of God knows only the answer. He fasts from karma, fate, predestination, and feasts on God, the eternal now, knowing the absolute does not condemn, judge, punish, or send sickness, disease, or death. That's not God doing that. That's your own mind doing that. God gave you the power to create whatever you want. So if you want to create beauty, fine. If you want to create ugliness, fine. But don't blame the problem on God. You are the conductor of your thoughts. Whatever you want to create, you have free will to do so. So God ain't out here punishing people. That's people punishing themselves and people's punishing other people. That's what that is. And once you figure that out and you know that, you stop being afraid of spells and hexes and curses and so trying to put some juju on me. You just throw all that shit away because you like, I understand now with the power of God, can't none of that shit touch me. Unless I say it can. which he can't. He knows that through his hands are dripping with the blood of others, and though he may have committed dastardly crimes, he can instantaneously turn to the presence of God within, lifting himself up to the heart of God, claiming and feeling that he is now the man God intended him to be, the happy man, the joyous man, the poised man, the peaceful man, the loving man. As this man paints a picture or vision in his mind and his heart, he hungers for an inward change. The law of God automatically responds to his new mental pattern. And the past is forgotten and remembered no more. All is mind, the universe is mental. If man misused the laws of chemistry or electricity for 20 years, the moment he used the principle correctly, the underlying laws of chemistry or electricity will automatically respond. So, if fire burn you, does that mean fire is evil? Or does that mean you just don't know what you was doing? Let's continue. Because the fire can burn you, but it can also heat up your home. It can also provide you with warm water and soup and stuff like that. It's up to you. It can either burn down your home or it can make your home feel warmth and joyous. It's just up to you. So we just don't know these principles, these laws, so we misuse them, and then we say it was the devil, it was the demons, it was them people, it was that people, but it wasn't. It was you. Okay. The law cannot possibly hold grudges or try to get even. When we are dealing with our mind, we are also using the principle of mind. It makes no difference if you have been a murderer, a thief, or if you have committed all manner of evil. The moment you decide sincerely to change your life by enthroning a new concept and estimate of yourself in your mind and feel the truth of that which you affirm, the law reverses its former action and responds by corresponding to the new blueprint of your mind. All is mind, the universe is mental. We must realize that the perfunctory prayer will not suffice. Only when sincerity and a new spiritual view of things takes hold of the mind do you expunge from your deeper mind the former negative patterns which cause all your trouble. You must remember that the law plays no favorites. Moreover, law is always impersonal. The laws of our mind never punish us. We merely experience the reaction of the law which we set in motion by our thoughts and beliefs. When man understands this, he has no occasion to hate or resent the meanest man who walks the earth. Furthermore, there is no basis for ill will, resentment, envy, or jealousy, for all man may turn within for what they want. Ain't no need for you to be envious and jealous of somebody else. God has things for you. You have to know that, though. Or else you will be chasing somebody else's image, chasing somebody else's way of life, because you haven't realized that God has gifts for you specifically. So you busy trying to get everything else that God, that ain't for you. God ain't got that for you. Okay. As they positively assert this claim for the good they seek, the law of mind responds to their mental acceptance. All is mind, the universe is mental. There is no basis for harboring ill feeling toward people who defraud or cheat us. There is nothing lost unless we admit the loss in our mind. All we have to do is realize that all things exist in infinite mind, God. Identify ourselves mentally and emotionally with that which we want. And our exchequer will again be replenished from the infinite reservoir of God's riches in ways we know not of. You know how people are like, you got a plan, you got a plan. Yes, do that. That's fine. But God got ways you not know of. God got ways you didn't even think of. So you can plan it out if you want. That don't mean it's going to work that way. It may, but it's not guaranteed. God might got another way for you. But if you're too busy trying to do things your way, you might keep missing what God wants you to see, where God wants you to go, who God wants you to talk to, where God wants you to be. Because you trying to make it work your way. You just said, forget it, I'm going to do this on my own. With God, all things are possible. There is no loss, but the sense of loss. People who rob, defraud, or otherwise deceive us are merely messengers telling us who we have conceived ourselves to be. A lot of people don't like to hear that part. But if you're serious about it, you might give it a listen. You might say, let me try this out and see what's going on. And it's going to take time. So what most people do is they try it. Like, that stuff don't work. It's just a bunch of, but they didn't try long enough. They gave up pretty fast. They didn't have no faith. Ye have little faith. They testify to our state of consciousness. How could we be angry or hostile to others when they are merely instruments of our own mind, fulfilling the play which we wrote consciously or unconsciously in the book of life, our subconscious mind? It took me a while to get it, but once I got it, I stopped taking things personal. If something happened to me now, I always ask myself, what am I thinking and feeling to attract this into my experience? If somebody come punch me in the face, I'm going to punch his ass back. But after we get done brawling, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, what have I been thinking and feeling to call somebody to just come punch me in the mouth? You know? And I'm not going to be mad at that person for punching me in the mouth. We going to brawl, though. But I ain't going to be mad at them, and I'm going to forgive them. Because I recognize now, oh, there's something going on in here and here. Otherwise, that wouldn't have happened to me. So it's easy for me to stay calm and peaceful and poised because now I get it. Oh, this just me. This just mirroring back to me what's going on with inside of me. Once you accept that everything you see and experience is going on inside of you, it becomes so much easier to be at peace, even during chaos. So it's no more throwing tantrums and having fits and feeling left out and feeling like somebody bullying you. They not. You bullying yourself. You just didn't know it. And some people still don't know it. And some people won't know it. They're going to die. They're going to leave this body. And they're going to have to come back another time. And they'll figure it out another time. But they're going to figure it out because we all on the path. That's another thing that keeps me. Because when I first started this spiritual stuff, I used to be trying to tell everybody. Trying to get everybody to wake up. And I stopped doing that because I said, I found out that we all on this path. All of us. We all going to the same place. So ain't no need for me to do that stuff no more. And sometimes now I just play dumb. I have people come to me and talk to me like I don't know nothing. I just play dumb like I don't know. I don't waste my time arguing anymore. I just be like, oh, okay, yep, you right. Yep. And I go on about my business, jump on my guitar, jump on my Fruity Loops, play my game, talk on the phone, whatever makes me happy. It is easy to forgive. All we have to do is to forgive ourselves for having negative, destructive thoughts which hurt us, while those with whom we are angry probably have been fishing, dancing, or having a glorious time. That's another thing. You might be mad at somebody and they having a good time, and you sit up here mad. To heal any situation, you show yourself to the priest, for you are the priest yourself, forever giving up the lesser for the greater. You may offer your sacrifice now. Sacrifice your negativity, which is your desire for a perfect healing, by directing your attention from the symptoms in the body and dwelling within the Lord of life within. So stop focusing on all this bullshit and start focusing on the God that gave you life. Like, they got all this stuff going on the TV, on the news. It's fine if you want to look at it. It's okay. I'm not here to tell you what to do. All I'm saying is don't put so much emotion into it. Remember the power within. That's the only one power. No matter how chaotic the world look, at the end of it all, there's only one power. And it's all going to balance itself out anyway. Claim that the infinite healing presence is saturating every atom of your body, making you whole, pure, and perfect. Know and feel that the living intelligence which made your body is now taking over, causing all the organs of your body to conform to God's eternal pattern of harmony, health, and peace. That's another example. How did your body get here? How did this hurt get here? Think about it. Come on now. It's simple. Think about it. Just ask yourself, how did this skin, where does skin come from? Where do your teeth come from? Where do your eyeballs come from? Where that earth come from? Something created it. That's where your focus should be. As you enter into the mental atmosphere of harmony, health, and peace, a rearrangement of your thought pattern takes place, followed automatically by molecular changes in the body structure to conform to the new state of consciousness. You are now transformed because you have had a spiritual transfusion of the healing power released by your prayers, so that every atom of your being dances to the rhythm of the eternal God. Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? The numeral 9 mentioned refers to the consciousness of possession. Possession is 9 points of the law when we enter into the feeling of being what we long to be, or as we continue to claim and feel as true that which we affirm. We add thought to thought, mood to mood, and finally, we reach the point of fulfillment in consciousness. The next step is 10, or our good made manifest. The cycle of consciousness has been completed. We are back where we started. We began thinking of God, the One, and we ended experiencing God, the One. Everything resolves itself back to one, its starting point. You glorify God each time your prayer is answered. Your thought and feeling become one as they are fused together by enthusiasm and love. The issue is the son and expression, the idea objectified. It is said the one who gives thanks was a stranger. The stranger in your mind might be sickness, fear, worry, or a business difficulty. The negative attitudes are strangers, aliens in the house of God. Your temple. Our mind is supposed to be a house of prayer, not a den of thieves. You know that. You know, every time you think stuff you ain't supposed to be thinking, you don't feel good, do you? So stop it. I know it sounds easier said than done. Stop it. Fear, worry, and anger are the strangers and intruders who rob us of peace of mind. When we starve these states through neglect, by giving all our attention and devotion to God and His attributes and qualities, our mind is cleansed. At that moment, we are praising and exalting the God in the midst of us. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. Here is a perfect formula of prayer. Formula of prayer. You may be experiencing yourself in a wonderful way. Be happily married, have a very prosperous business, have wonderful friends, yet you may have a bad heart or have trouble with your eyes. There was a man in our recent class on the book of Job who wrote me saying that he was leaving the 9 harmonious, stable conditions of his life to fill up that one that was lost or missing. He said that he went to work on a quality. He said that he went to work on a quality in which he was sadly lacking, namely thankfulness. This young man said he rarely praised anybody and that he was not thankful for all his blessings. How many people you know like that? How many times you've been like that? He was amazed when he began to consider all the wonderful things that happened to him and the many blessings he enjoyed. The stranger in his midst was eye trouble. The mood of gratitude and the thankful heart causes us to tune in with the creative forces of the universe, and what we send out comes back to us, multiplied by the law of action and reaction, cause and effect. This young man quieted the wheels of his mind and began to imagine he was talking to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, within himself, not in the sky, not a statue, not a picture on the wall, within himself. He had no mental picture of God, of course. In his mind's eye, he sensed that the divine presence was there, the very life of him. He began to say over and over again, "Thank you, Father, thank you, Father." He kept repeating this softly, quietly, gently, and lovingly. He was in a sleepy, drowsy state each night, every night, as he meditated in the manner outlined. He would go to sleep in the mental mood of thankfulness. He had a perfect healing of his eyes. In biblical language, he fell down on his face at his feet. The word face means the truth and presence of God. Feet mean understanding. To fall down is to humble yourself and set aside the intellect, the logical part of your mind, which so many of us have been conditioned to put so much emphasis on. To fall down is to humble yourself and set aside the intellect, knowing that infinite wisdom and power are within and can do all things, not some, all. He understood that vision is spiritual, eternal, and indestructible, and that all he had to do was enter into the mood of thankfulness for the gift already received. The grateful heart is the mind which believes and rejoices in the joy of the answered prayer. You have oftentimes thanked the man behind the counter for the coat, wrap, or suit which you paid for but did not receive. You know that he will send it to you, and you trust him implicitly. God's promises never fail, and you can also give thanks for the gifts which have already been given to you. Rise to the point of acceptance and go forth with a grateful heart for the gift already received. I have been a stranger in the strange land. I guess that's supposed to be Exodus chapter 2, verse 22. 222. All of us are really wanderers, pilgrims, and strangers here. We have left paradise and do not feel at home here. Our pilgrimage is back to the one. We have loves, urges, ideals, and aspirations. And as we look at the world, it seems to deny the inner whisperings and murmurings of our heartstrings, which remind us of our origin and urge us back to it. There is only one thing to do. There is only one thing all men are seeking, and that is the God within, the creative presence and power. So don't it make sense that they took God and put him outside of you? Because you won't look within. You'll never look within yourself because you're too busy looking at statues and pictures and waiting on some man to come out the sky with some sandals on and a white robe on. Leave the good sound qualities, aspects, conditions, and circumstances of your life and find the stranger, the thing that bothers you. Find the things that bothers you that is at present, right now, annoying you. Some desire, perhaps it's not fulfilled. Turn to God within and still the wheels of your mind. Immobilize your attention. Focus your mental lens on the fact that the spirit within you, God, is the cause and the source of all your good. Not some, all. Then give thanks by silently repeating thank you over and over again as a lullaby until your mind is full of the feeling of thankfulness. Yes, do it silently, especially if you're around people who skeptical, because even religious people will look at you crazy if you do this in front of them. Even those people who call themselves Christians and Muslims and Catholics and whatever name they gave themselves, even those people, they're gonna be looking at you like, they might say, yeah, that's right, give thanks to God, but then in the back of their head, they're like, he doing too much. I ain't doing too goddamn much. Let's continue. Continue to do this until you are filled in consciousness. The moment you qualify or condition your consciousness, the answer will come. The lepers are now cleansed. Let your prayer be, oh God, give me one more thing, a grateful heart.